In the quiet folds of West Devon, where the river Tavy murmurs through wooded valleys, and the villages of Buckland, Monachorum, and Milton Combe nestle like secrets kept by the hills, the past is never far from the present. Here, in the shadow of ancient churches and along forgotten lanes, the dead speak through sorrowful bells and spectral hooves, their echoes binding the two hamlets in a tapestry of from the ghostly bell ringers of Buckland Monachorum's parish church, to the phantom horse and cart scene in Milton Combe in 1962. These tales intertwine, whispering of lost souls tethered to the land by tragedy and time. The story begins in Buckland Monachorum, where the Church of St. Andrew stands as a sentinel of stone, its tower piercing the sky since the 12th century. The churchyard, dotted with weathered graves, holds a particular mystery on its north side, a cluster of unmarked plots, their occupants unknown, their stories buried deep. Local lore offers two explanations. Some say these are the graves of 17th century plague victims, hastily interred during a merciless outbreak that swept through the Tamar Valley. Others whisper they belong to a group of monks, murdered by Cromwell's troops during the English Civil War and buried in secret to avoid desecration. Whatever the truth, the north side has always carried a chill, a place where even the sun seems reluctant to linger. In 1841, during repairs to the church tower, workmen uncovered a hidden vault beneath the stone floor, a cramped chamber containing several ancient coffins, their wood blackened with age, their brass plates illegible. The discovery sent a ripple of unease through Buckland Monachorum, for the vault's purpose was unclear, and no record existed to explain it. The coffins were left undisturbed, the vaults sealed once more, but from that Christmas Eve onward, a new haunting took root. At the stroke of midnight, as the village slept beneath a blanket of frost, the church tower filled with the sorrowful sound of bells, ghostly peals that rang without ropes, without ringers, a mournful chime that echoed over the Tavy Valley and stirred dread in those who heard it. The first recorded witness was the vicar in 1887, a pragmatic man named Reverend Charles Harrowell. On Christmas Eve, as he sat in his study by the vicarage fire, the faint tolling reached his ears, a slow, plaintive melody that seemed to weep rather than celebrate. Determined to disprove what he assumed was a prank, Harrowell donned his coat, took a lantern, and climbed the narrow spiral stair to the bell chamber. The tower was empty, the bells still in their frames, the ropes untouched since the last Sunday service. Yet the sound persisted, surrounding him like a shroud, its sorrow so palpable he felt tears prick his eyes. He descended in silence, shaken, and though he never spoke publicly of the experience, he noted in his diary, "The bells wept for souls unshriven, and I felt their grief as my own." From then on, the ghostly bell ringers became an annual haunting, their midnight toll heard by villagers huddled beneath their blankets, a reminder of the unmarked graves and the restless dead beneath the tower. Miles away, in the neighboring hamlet of Milton Combe, another spectral echo stirred the night, a ghostly horse and cart, old-fashioned in its design, seen on a moonlit evening in the autumn of 1962. The witness was Elsie Taverner, a widow who ran the tiny post office in Milton Combe, known for her steady nerves and sharp eye. On an October night, as she walked home from a neighbor's house along the narrow lane near the Hood had thought it in, she heard the faint clatter of hooves and the creak of wood behind her. Turning, she saw it a horse and cart straight out of another century. The horse a gaunt chestnut with hollow eyes, the cart a weathered contraption with high wooden sides, its driver a shadowed figure in a broad hat. The apparition moved slowly, its wheels silent on the pavement despite the sound of their turning. And as it passed Elsie, the air turned cold, carrying the scent of damp earth and decay. She stood frozen, clutching her shawl, as the cart rounded a bend and vanished into the darkness, leaving only the echo of its creaking wheels in her ears. Elsie told her story the next day at the inn, her hands trembling as she sipped her tea. The older folk nodded knowingly, for Milton Combe had long whispered of such things. Phantoms tied to the lanes that once carried mourners and merchants between villages. Some speculated the horse and cart belonged to the same era as the unmarked graves in Buckland, Monachorum. Perhaps a plague cart that ferried the dead to their hasty burials, or a supply wagon for the monks before their slaughter by Cromwell's men. The tales converged, as if the two hauntings were threads of the same mournful tapestry, their sorrow spilling across the miles that separated the church tower from the hamlet lane. The connection between the ghostly bell ringers and the phantom cart deepened in local lore through the years. In 1975, a young historian named Margaret Polwell, researching Buckland Monachoram's Civil War history, proposed a theory that tied the two together. She unearthed fragments of parish records suggesting that a group of monks from a nearby priory, fleeing Cromwell's troops in 1644, sought refuge in Buckland Monachorum, but were betrayed and massacred near Milton Combe. Their bodies, the records hinted, were buried in secret on the north side of St. Andrew's churchyard, and their bell-ringing tools, small handbells used in their clandestine prayers, were hidden in the tower, later sealed in the vault discovered in 1841. Margaret theorized that the horse and cart Elsie saw might have been the vehicle used to transport the monks' remains, its spectral journey a reenactment of that grim night, while the bell ringers tolled for their own lost souls, unable to find peace until their story was known. Though Margaret's theory remained unproven, it lent a poignant weight to the hauntings, and the villagers began to listen to the Christmas Eve bells with a new reverence, as if honoring the forgotten dead. The ghostly horse and cart appeared less frequently after the 1960s, but Elsie's sighting was never forgotten, and on quiet nights in Milton Combe, some still pause at the sound of distant hooves, half expecting to see the old-fashioned cart emerge from the shadows. Today, the Church of St. Andrew in Buckland, Monachorum, stands as it always has, its tower a silent guardian over the unmarked graves, its bells still ringing sometimes by living hands, sometimes by unseen ones at midnight on Christmas Eve. In Milton Combe, the lanes remain narrow and winding, their history etched into the earth, waiting for the next echo of hooves to stir the night. The ghostly bell ringers and the phantom cart endure in the shared lore of these West Devon villages. Their sorrowful notes and creaking wheels, a reminder of lives cut short, of secrets buried deep, and of a past that refuses to be forgotten in the quiet heart of Dartmoor. Many thanks for treading this tale's dark path. If its chill gripped you, follow, subscribe, and comment below.